And here we are in our little studio at NAMM in Los Angeles. And I'd like to speak a little bit about our speaker range here. And what you can see here, depending on the size of the room and of the application where these speakers are used, we are having two different two-way speakers here, the so-called KH80 and the KH120. And these two speakers are typical, very bassy studio monitors for close field monitoring. So you wouldn't use them in wider studios where you are having these movie makers, things like that. There they use bigger studio monitors. But for a room like this, where you have a small, mainly digital console in these days on a table, and you need to listen to a stereo signal left and right, the KH80s or the KH120s are the right products to go for. They're all active speakers. And as you can see here in front, we do have a so-called waveguide. So the surface is not just flat with built-in drivers, but it is a waveguide that has an elliptic shape, as you can see here in both speakers. And that means when you are sitting in the center of between the two speakers in front of your console, you could still move to the left and right side without losing the sweet spot when you listen to the signals. In cases where speakers are having a roundly shaped waveguide, you have to sit right in one particular spot, right in the center between the speakers. Here it gives you more flexibility. That's important for studios where you still use analog consoles up to 90 channels. There you have 3 or 4 meter wide surfaces to cover, and that's not possible to do this without moving back and forth. So these speakers give you the option for professional work in the analog and in the digital domain without any loss in quality when you listen as a sound engineer. KH310 is the first three-way speaker in the line. The KH310 is also an active speaker, so there are a lot of different switches on the rear side of these speakers. I turn one around, then we can see it. So these speakers can be switched to different settings. You have some acoustical control, so you can switch the speaker to smaller distances for freestanding and for small desks, medium desks, and large desks, so that you always have the right character of the signal for the sound engineer working with them. You have gain setting on every speaker, so you can adjust it to the room circumstances, to the acoustics, depending, for example, on the material you're using in the room. Here we are having foam elements on the wall. In other rooms we have just glass or hard surfaces. You would switch it accordingly so that the sound engineer can hear what he has recorded and not just what the room gives back to him. Then, what we don't show here, we also have a bigger speaker called KH420. That is the first speaker which is also an active speaker more for bigger studios or for movie makers. So there you get a more sound boost out of them. It's a more powerful working horse. And of course, we have subwoofers, as you can see here. Underneath the table, there is a so-called KH810, which is a subwoofer which does also contain a bass management system. So all the speakers can be connected to the subwoofer, and you can arrange the whole system being controlled in one world of Neumann sound. And there is also a subwoofer, a double subwoofer, KH870 available, which we don't distribute here simply because the room is too small to do this. That would just be too much power, too much audible energy in this room. All these speakers are available ex stock, so there's no waiting time for people who want to have these speakers equipped in their studio, and we see more and more users in the professional audio world as well as in the home recording area, by the way. So the smaller speakers like the KH80 as well as the KH120 are not just tools for the professional recording engineer in one of these world famous big studios where all the artists are making their recordings. This is something which people use very often at home for their own guitar recordings, their vocals and stuff like that. And they are affordable. These speakers are, in some cases, when you compare it to the very expensive hi-fi quality speakers in expensive home hi-fi systems, these speakers are more affordable than some of the hi-fi components. The difference is a hi-fi speaker is made to boost the bass, to amplify what people want to hear in their living room. And the task of these speakers is to do exactly the opposite. They should just deploy the sound which has been recorded by the sound engineer, and they should give him a very clear and transparent result from his original recording without amplifying anything more than it was taped or was recorded or was on any other recording device. And therefore, these speakers do have quite a bassy sound. So there is, as you see here, holes in the speakers. That means the sound of the deeper frequencies is not just traveling through the driver in front, it's traveling through a tube system inside the speakers and then comes out here. And that gives a very warm sound, which a lot of studio users are loving in these days. So I think we've done something.